I remember the exact moment the first crack in the glass appeared. It was a Tuesday afternoon, mid-October, and the leaves outside had started to fall in those warm, coppery hues that made everything feel too beautiful to be real. Kind of ironic. Now, thinking about it, I was sipping lukewarm coffee at my desk, half listening to a client ramble over Zoom, when I got that text from Rachel. Guess who's pregnant? 3 exclamation points, 2 emojis, and a picture of her smiling hand on a tiny swell of belly, eyes wide with a mixture of excitement and triumph. I blinked. My stomach sank. It wasn't that I didn't want her to be happy. She was my best friend, or at least she had been for years. We'd met in college, bonded over heartbreaks and late-night junk food, helped each other move apartments, swap boyfriends, and cry through career changes. She was the person I thought I'd grow old with, maybe not in the same house, but on the same street, sharing wine and gossip while our kids played tag in the yard. But this didn't feel right. Not because she was pregnant, because of who she said the father was. Jake, my ex, the only man I ever truly loved, and the person she knew had broken me. She claimed they had reconnected 6 months ago, casually ran into each other at some bar downtown. According to her, it wasn't planned, wasn't even romantic at first. It just happened. You know how life is? She'd shrugged, smiling that soft, guilty smile she always used when she was trying to make a mess seem poetic. Only I knew it wasn't that simple. Because 6 months ago, she'd sworn she was done dating. I'm going celibate, she had joked, dramatically deleting Hinge in front of me. Men are trash. And Jake. He'd left me only 8 months before that, out of nowhere. No warning, no explanation. Just a cold silence that seeped into everything. One day we were planning a trip to Istanbul. The next he was gone. I cried for weeks. And when I finally got the courage to ask Rachel if she knew anything, she had denied everything. No clue where he is, she had said, but now, here she was, pregnant, with his baby, and smiling like she'd won. The anger didn't come all at once. At first I just felt confused, hurt, like the floor had shifted beneath me, and I couldn't quite catch my balance. I didn't even respond to her text for a full day. Just stared at that photo of her belly, wondering if maybe I was overreacting. Maybe she was telling the truth. Maybe I was just jealous. Maybe the pain of seeing them together, forming a family, was blinding me. But then, little things started adding up, like how she dodged basic questions: due dates, checkup appointments, baby names. Oh, I haven't really thought about that yet, she'd say, flipping her hair, sipping mocktails in a way that felt too performative. Or how Jake hadn't reached out to anyone, not even mutual friends.
Oh.
Congratulatory posts on social media, no baby registry, no shared pictures. He wasn't even in the announcement photos. It's just Rachel, alone. Then there were the doctor visits she always went to alone. It's just easier, she explained once. Jake's got that new job. You know how demanding he is? But I didn't know. I hadn't heard from Jake in over a year. And the Jake I knew, despite how things ended, would never miss out on something like this. Not if it was real. That's when the suspicions started creeping in, and once it was there, it wouldn't let go. I started asking around, quietly, carefully first. I messaged Anna, a mutual friend who used to work with Jake. She hadn't heard from him since he left the firm. Then I reached out to Kevin, Jake's college roommate. Same story. No one knew where he was. No one had seen him. It was like he'd disappeared. But the most telling moment came when I visited Rachel one afternoon, pretending I wanted to help her plan the baby shower. She was wearing a flowy sundress, looking radiant, glowing, all the things pregnant women are supposed to be. She had that air of smugness, like she knew she was being admired, and it made my skin crawl. I offered to carry some boxes from her car, and when she bent down to hand me the keys, her belly shifted. Not like a real pregnant belly. It jiggled. I pretended not to notice. I took the keys and walked out calmly. But my mind was spinning. I'd touched real pregnant bellies before my sister had 2 kids. I knew what they felt like. Round, firm, alive. This had felt like foam. or fabric. My hand shook as I opened her trunk, and I suddenly remembered something Rachel had told me years ago in one of our late-night oversharing sessions. If I ever get pregnant, I want it to be the center of everything, she'd said. The attention, the love, the validation I need it. I want the world to orbit around me. Back then, it had seemed like a joke. Harmless. A bit self-centered, sure, but we all had our quirks now. It felt like a confession. I knew what I had to do. I couldn't confront her directly. Not yet. She was too clever, too manipulative. She'd twist it, make me seem jealous or bitter. I needed proof, real proof. So I waited. I played along. I helped her plan the shower. I even offered to host it at my place, claiming it would be more convenient, more space. She didn't protest. In fact, she seemed thrilled. "You're such a good friend," she gushed, hugging me with those fake, bony arms. I knew I could count on you. Every word felt like acid on my skin. I spent the next 2 weeks digging, watching, noting everything. I found the belly bump online, a fake silicone pregnancy prosthetic. Same shape, same color. Even the same strap design I glimpsed under her dress once when she adjusted herself too fast. I printed the order confirmation, traced it back to her email, her name, her address. All right there. Then I dug deeper. I logged into an old Instagram account I knew Jake had used back when we were together. I guessed the password something dumb, and predictably and shockingly, it worked. And that's when the final nail in the coffin hit me. Jake was living in Portugal, had been for nearly a year. He had posted a photo just 3 days ago. Sunset. Over a vineyard arm around a woman I didn't recognize. The caption read, "Peace at last. No drama, no lies." He wasn't just gone. He was gone by choice. Rachel hadn't mentioned this woman, hadn't said a word about Portugal. Nothing. Because Jake wasn't part of her life? Because this baby, this pregnancy, was one giant lie, and she was about to be celebrated for it. I thought about all the people who'd be at the shower, our college friends, Rachel's coworkers, her family, everyone bringing gifts, smiles, tears of joy. I pictured her opening, tiny onesies and booties, feigning emotion, soaking in the applause. It made me sick. I tried to tell myself it wasn't my business, that it wasn't my place. Maybe she was going through something, mental health, trauma, whatever. That maybe she just needed help. But then I remembered how she looked at me when she announced it, that smug little glint in her eye, like she knew she had something over me, like she had one. No, this wasn't about help. It was about control. And I wasn't going to let her have it. So I made a plan. The baby shower would happen as scheduled Sunday afternoon. Garden theme, balloons, flower crowns, champagne flutes filled with sparkling cider, a 2-tiered cake with pink frosting, and the words, "It's a girl," scrolled in CURSIVE. Everything picture perfect. And then, right in the middle of it, when she'd be surrounded by love and gifts and praise, I would expose her, not to humiliate her, not even to get revenge, but because people deserved the truth, because I had been silent for too long. And Rachel, she had finally gone too far. The morning of the baby shower felt surreal. I woke up early even before the alarm. Sun filtered through my curtains in soft golden streaks, and everything looked peaceful, deceptively so. I lay in bed for a few moments, heart pounding, wondering if I could really go through with it. I wasn't a cruel person. I didn't enjoy conflict. If anything, I'd spent most of my life trying to avoid it, apologizing, even when I wasn't wrong. Staying quiet when I should have spoken up, playing the peacekeeper while people stepped all over me. But not today. Today, I was reclaiming my voice. I spent the morning setting up the decorations, lavender and blush pink, all coordinated with the fake theme Rachel had insisted on, whimsical garden. I strung fairy lights through the trees in my backyard, set out mason jars filled with wildflowers, and arranged delicate pastel cupcakes on a 3-tiered stand. Everything was Pinterest perfect. It had to be, because the prettier it looked, the harder the fall would be when the truth came out. By noon, guests started arriving. Rachel was fashionably late as always. She floated in around 12:45, wearing a white lace maternity dress that clung a little too tightly to her bump. She looked ethereal, like some glowing goddess of motherhood. Everyone oot and ought, showering her with compliments. "You look amazing. She's glowing, isn't she?" "I swear you're all belly. How do you do it?" She soaked it all in with practiced grace, offering soft laughs and fluttery hand gestures. She glanced at me once, just once, with a look that said, "See? I win," and I smiled back, because I already knew she was moments away from losing everything. As the party unfolded, I played the gracious host. I handed out mocktails, made polite conversation, even posed for pictures next to her with my arm around her shoulders. My stomach churned the entire time, but I kept going, because the moment I had been planning for 2 weeks was almost here. When it came time for her to open the gifts, everyone gathered in a semicircle on the lawn. The sun was bright, the air buzzing with excitement. I took my place behind the camera Rachel had brought. She always liked documenting every event for her Instagram stories. I could barely hold the lens steady, but I didn't care. This was it. She started unwrapping the gift-steeny socks, baby bottles, stuffed animals, hand-knitted blankets. Each one came with gasps and laughter. People cried. I watched them cry for a baby that didn't exist, watched them celebrate a lie. It made my chest ache. Then finally it was time for my gift. I had wrapped it carefully. A medium box covered in pale pink paper with a white satin bow. I handed it to her with a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. She grinned. "Ah, you didn't have to, but of course you did. You're such a sweetheart." The crowd chuckled. Rachel tore off the ribbon slowly, savoring the moment. She peeled the paper back, then opened the box. Silence. Her face froze. Inside, nestled among layers of tissue paper, was the fake pregnancy belly she had ordered. The exact one. With the receipt taped to the lid, her name, her address, the shipping details, all clearly visible, and next to it, a printed photo of Jake kissing a woman on a vineyard in Portugal. The caption underneath read, "No drama." No lies. I let the silence settle. Then I stepped forward. "Rachel," I said calmly, "I think it's time you told everyone the truth." Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Just a strangled gasp. Around us, the crowd shifted uncomfortably. A few people leaned in, craning their necks to see what was inside the box. Someone whispered, "What is that?" She stood up abruptly, knocking over a tiny pair of baby shoes. I don't know what this is," she stammered. "This is some kind of sick joke." "It's not a joke," I said quietly. "It's a lie. When you've been telling all of us, there is no baby. There never was." She shook her head violently. "You're insane. You're jealous because Jake chose me." That got a few audible gasps. I stayed calm. I pulled out my phone and turned the screen to the crowd. I had opened Jake's public Instagram account in advance. His most recent post was still there. "Jake didn't choose you," I said. "He's been living in Portugal for a year. He doesn't even know you're claiming to be pregnant with his child." Rachel's face turned white. The silence thickened. I could almost hear the collective heartbeat of the room slow. Someone from the back, Aunt Teresa I think, said, "Is this true?" Rachel opened her mouth again, but the tears started before the words could come. Big, messy sobs that looked more like guilt than grief. Then she ran straight through the garden, lace dress billowing, fake belly bouncing oddly beneath it. And just like that, she was gone. The guests looked stunned, frozen. A few started whispering. Others just stood there blinking, unsure of what to do. I didn't move. I just stood there, still holding the receipt box in my hands. My chest felt hollow, like something heavy had been scraped out of it. I should have felt satisfied, triumphant even, but all I felt was tired. Eventually, people started to leave. Some gave me nods of quiet understanding. Others avoided my eyes completely. No one said much. What could they say? I spent the rest of the afternoon cleaning up, alone. By evening, the backyard looked as if nothing had ever happened. No fairy lights, no cupcakes, no flower crowns. Just a quiet, empty space. I poured myself a glass of wine and sat on the back steps. I didn't cry. I didn't feel like I had the right to. This wasn't just about Rachel's lie. It was about everything we'd shared, everything I thought we had. She wasn't just my friend. She was my person, my sister in all but blood. And she had used me, manipulated me, lied to my face, for attention, for validation, maybe even to spite me. I thought back to all the nights we spent curled up on my couch, watching Netflix, eating ice cream, sharing secrets. I remembered how she held my hand when Jake left, how she swore she'd never betray me, and she did all of this anyway. That was the part that hurt the most. Not the fake pregnancy, not the public breakdown, but the betrayal. I don't know if she ever apologized. I don't even know if I want her to. Some things cut too deep, but at least now, the truth is out. At least now, she can't hide behind the lie anymore, and I can finally let her go. The next few days were a blur. I expected fallout, anger, texts, confrontation, but what I didn't expect was silence. No apology. No attempt to explain herself. Nothing. Rachel vanished. She didn't post on social media. She didn't return anyone's calls. It was as if she had been swallowed whole by the earth after the baby shower. A few people reached out to me, some cautiously, others with outright sympathy. Anna called me the next morning. "Hey," she said quietly. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for doubting you. I thought she was really pregnant. We all did." "I know," I whispered, my voice barely holding. "What she did," Anna paused. "That wasn't just lying, that was sick. I didn't say anything. I didn't have to." The truth was finally echoing through the people who mattered, and that was enough for now. Over the next week, Rachel's circle began to collapse. Mutual friends unfollowed her. The group chat we used to share went silent. Her coworkers started whispering at the office she once bragged about. Her family, at least the parts I still had contact with, sent messages asking if I was okay. One of them even wrote, "We had no idea." She said the father was abusive, and that's why he wasn't around. She didn't even let us go to her appointments. We thought we were protecting her. Protecting her. That word stung, because I had spent years protecting her, from herself, from the world, from consequences, and all the while she was using me as a prop in a story built on manipulation. It was strange, though. Part of me still kept checking my phone, waiting for her to text.
Ow.
Even after everything. Even after the lie, the betrayal, the exposure, because despite it all, she had been my best friend. I missed her. Or at least, I missed who I thought she was. That loss sat in my chest like a stone. One evening, a week after the shower, I got the message I didn't expect to receive from an unknown number. "You think you're better than me? You always did?" I stared at the screen. It wasn't signed, but I didn't need a name. It was her. "You humiliated me," came the second message. "You destroyed everything. And then finally, are you happy now?" I read those words over and over again. Am I happy? Was that what I wanted to humiliate her? No, not at all. What I wanted, what I needed was honesty, closure, the ability to look in the mirror and know that I hadn't let myself be fooled, that I had drawn a line just once and stood my ground. But she didn't. See that she couldn't, because Rachel didn't know how to see anyone but herself. I didn't reply. I blocked the number, sat with my breath for a while, then let it go. A few more days passed. Then I got an email from Jake. Yes, Jake. It landed in my inbox at 3:14 a.m. I was up, scrolling through reels I didn't care about, lost in that numbness. That comes at night. The subject line was simple. I heard. I hesitated before clicking it. Inside, the message was short, blunt. Hey, I heard what happened with Rachel. I didn't know she was saying any of that. I haven't spoken to her since I left the city. I'm sorry you got dragged into it, and I'm sorry for the way I disappeared on you. That was wrong. I hope you're okay. Jakai read it 3 times. No excuses, no gaslighting, just an acknowledgement, an apology. It didn't fix everything, but it was more than I expected. I didn't respond right away. I wasn't sure if I wanted to open that door again. I still didn't understand why he ghosted me back then, why he left without a word, why he let me hurt. But the Rachel piece, at least, was finally clarified. She had lied. Fully, completely, deliberately. She had taken the one man who broke me, and tried to rewrite the narrative, so she came out the heroine. And when I exposed her, her world crumbled. But mine slowly started to heal. I started therapy, told my therapist everything from the early doubts to the moment she opened that gift box in front of everyone. I cried harder than I expected to. Not for her, but for the version of me that stayed silent for too long. The girl who swallowed her gut instincts, second-guessed her intuition, and chose to keep peace instead of demanding truth. That girl deserved better, and now she was finally getting it. 2 weeks later, I got a letter, not a text, not an email, a handwritten letter slipped under my door in the middle of the night. The handwriting was unmistakable. Rachel, I opened it with shaking hands. Dear friend, I suppose congratulations are in order. You won. You made your point. You destroyed me in front of everyone. You took away the only thing I had left, attention. You always had a way of making people believe you were the good one, the strong one, the victim. But the truth is, you were always envious of me, of my confidence, of my charm. You never had what I had. So when I finally had something that made people care, you couldn't stand it. Yes, I lied. But it was only because I wanted to feel loved for once. I wanted to matter. I wanted people to look at me and not just walk past like I was nothing. You took that from me. I hope it was worth it. I folded the letter slowly and placed it back in the envelope. My hands weren't shaking anymore, because that was the difference between her and me. She wanted to be seen. I wanted to be real. She played pretend because she couldn't face her own emptiness. I exposed the truth because I couldn't carry her weight anymore. That was never love. That was manipulation wearing friendship like a mask. I threw the letter into the fireplace, watched the paper curl and blacken, and turn to ash. And I swear to God, it felt like a funeral. Not of a person, but of a chapter. Of a version of me that needed her. I stood by the window for a long time afterward, wine glass in hand, the night stretching wide around me. No regrets, no guilt. Just space. Space for new beginnings, for real connections. For the kind of love and friendship that didn't come with strings, or secrets, or silicone bellies meant to trap sympathy. The kind of love that didn't need a lie to exist. And for the first time in years, I let out a laugh. Not bitter, not broken, just free.